Joy, joy, joy.
Yes, good morning, Mechanicsville. How you doing this morning? Yes, good morning, WBI FM in Wiganborough, England. We give God thanks for another great day He has made for you and for me. Good morning, London, England. Yes, good morning to you. Hope everybody had a great Christmas celebration. And guess what? You don't have to stop. No, we don't have to stop at all. But we can just continue on just giving God thanks for all that we've been experiencing in Him. I tell you, it's a great day. It's a great day. It's a great day. Yes, good morning. Good morning, Washington, D.C. Yes, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Yes. Good morning, Waldorf, Maryland. Yes, good morning, Mechanicsville. Yes, that's the name of our show. We just give God thanks and praise for. Good morning, Mechanicsville. We thank God for your neighborhood, for your community, for where you live at. Yes, good morning, Indianapolis, Indiana. Good morning to you. Yes, San Jose, California. Good morning to you. Yeah, we have new listeners in France, and so we give God thanks and praise. Good morning to those in France and Canada as well. Ottawa, Canada, we give God thanks and praise for you this morning. Ashburn, Virginia, Westerville, Ohio, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yes, we just give God thanks and praise for another great day He's made for you and for me. Merry Christmas to you again. I know it's a few days beyond, but guess what? We can say Merry Christmas anytime. Yes. Wonders of His love. Yes, His love make you wonder. Yes, Lord, do you love me like that? Yes, He does.
Wonders of His love. Let us receive our King. Let us receive our King. Let us receive our King. The sound of joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Wonders of His love. Wonders of His love. Wonders of His love.
Joy to the world, hope and serenity.
Let us receive our King.
Yes, I'm hoping that we're beginning to see that God desires for us to experience joy. Yeah, that your life today might be full of joy, that my life today might be full of joy. And I tell you, I'm really believing that it is your perception, how you perceive things, how you look at things, how you think about things, that all those things really have impact on joy, on your joy and my joy. And I tell you, when I'm really reading this message and this gospel, what God desires for you and for me to know and to understand, it produces great joy. And when I see that that's what God's desire is, That is his desire, that you and I might be full of joy. How's your day going? I know it's just the beginning, but, others might be listening to this later on in the afternoon. But how is your day going today? Is it full of joy? Is it full of God's peace? I know there may be situations or circumstances that you might be facing right now, and there may not be any joy whatsoever in the circumstance. In fact, the circumstance might be designed to rob you of your joy, to just change your whole attitude, your whole demeanor and whatnot. But you know something, you and I, we are beginning to realize and understand that God is much more greater than any circumstance, any situation that might come your way. That even in the midst of what may be not necessarily a joyful episode, a joyful event, that right in the midst of it, joy can be experienced. This is one of the surprising things about this gospel, the surprising thing about what Christ does for you and for me. It is very surprising that in the midst of some very difficult times that you and I can discover the great joy of the great joy of God. Yes, surprised by love. Yes, love just surprised you. You were not expecting to be experiencing joy because there's so many difficult things that are happening all around you. That joy was the last thing on your mind. But guess what? You couldn't escape it because joy was there. The seed of God's gospel, the seed of his love and mercy towards you was already planted. It was already thriving. And you had experienced the joy of God before and the peace of God before. And out of nowhere, it seemed like, but we know exactly where it came from. It wasn't out of nowhere, but it's from his spirit in you. It was from Christ in you. It was from what? This gift of God. You remember Jesus told the woman at the well, if you knew the gift of God, you'd ask of me, and I give you living water, water that doesn't die. And so that's what happens with your joy, with my joy. It doesn't die because situational circumstances might change. That doesn't affect us at all. Now, maybe early on, because we haven't really fully grown in it, haven't fully embraced the magnitude of this great love and joy that God has for us. And so initially it may have some, it may have some being watered down, some be challenged in such a way that it seems to be overtaken by the situation and circumstances you're going through. But, as time go on, you and I begin to experience this surprising joy, that joy is there, that Jesus was right, that it's living, that it's not dead, and that it's a fountain of living water that's gushing up on the inside of you and on the inside of me. Yes, we are beginning to experience it in ways that we had not experienced it before, and we're beginning to see and to actually experience this desire that God has for you and for me, that your joy might be full and that his joy might remain in us, that we might be the fulfillment of his joy. We mentioned that yesterday, that Jesus looks at us as the fulfillment of his joy, that his joy is fulfilled in us, in you and in me. And as his joy is being fulfilled in us, our joy is full as well. Yes. Oh, I tell you, there's no greater delight, I don't believe, that you and I can have an experience when we are conscious and aware of the fact that God is getting great joy out of me being joyful as well, that God desires. God gets such a delight out of you and me as children having a life full of joy. Joy that's so powerful, that's so strong, that's so mighty, that when situations and circumstances come our way, that has been designed to rob us of our joy, that guess what? It doesn't impact us at all. In fact, James got to a place in his teaching that he says, count it all joy when you find yourself in all kinds of temptations and tests and whatnot, because you know what's happening, you know what's going on. that the trying of your faith, which is much more precious than gold itself, is happening. Yes, that you are maturing, that you're growing. And so he says, count it all joy, count it all joy. It's an amazing thing that the gospel is this exciting good news about what God has completed, what he has finished for you and for me. And then even the apostles, the preachers and the teachers who really know what this gospel is all about, who embrace it, can't get away from this joy. In fact, it's so pervasive, it's so foundational, it's so fundamental to an understanding of the gospel of God, God's gospel, that is present all the way. In fact, James get to a place, and during the time in which they lived, there was all kinds of persecution that was happening all over the place, just because of someone's faith, because of someone's belief, because of someone's desire to embrace Jesus Christ, that there was a threat on their lives, that there was great persecution as a result of it. And the response to that, James writing and saying, look, when you find yourself in all kinds of testings and temptations and trouble, and when things seem to be going the wrong way, when the bottom of your life seems to be dropping out, he says, count it all joy. Yes. Because our focus is no longer on the situation or circumstance, so to speak, but it's on Christ himself. Remember, he said, I want my joy to remain in you. I'm saying these things to you. I'm speaking these things to you. I'm revealing these things to you. I'm talking to you about these things so that my joy might remain. It gives the impression that without hearing what Jesus is saying to us, without him speaking these truths to us, that his joy will leave, that his joy will not remain, that it'll be overtaken, overshadowed, overpowered by situations and circumstances, other things interrupting, other things taking the place of his joy and his desires. Not only that you and I might experience the fact that he is so joyfully committed to us, that this gospel is a gospel of great joy. The news of it, the proclamation of it, the content of it is designed to produce great joy in your life and my life. And not only that, but it is to remain. He wants it to remain. In fact, he wants his joy to remain to a point that your joy becomes full. There's no place for anything else other than great joy. Yes. And so this can happen for you. It can happen for me. It can happen for anyone, whosoever will, anybody who would dare to embrace the totality and the fullness of the gospel, the good news, the gift of God, Jesus Christ himself. If you and I were to embrace him totally, the after effect of that, the side effect of that, the result of that, the impact of that will be a great sense of joy in your heart, a great sense of peace. Joy and peace traveling together. Yes, traveling together. Joy and peace traveling together. Yes, the joy of God, the joy of the Lord strengthens you, makes you strong, so that no matter what the temptations might be, no matter what the difficulty might be, that you have the means by which the joy of God, God's joy, deep down inside of you that is remaining, it makes you strong. Yes, and so Jesus, his desire, and God's desire is not that you just taste and see that the Lord is good, but that it remains, that it is not something that comes and goes, but there is a remaining, there is an abiding of his great joy that's on the inside of you. And so you and I can get to that place where we are living on cloud nine, so to speak, and nothing interrupts us, nothing pulls us back down to earth, so to speak. That we are heavenly minded, and we are of great worth to the earth. Yes, we are. Yes, because what the earth needs, what the world needs, is this joy and this peace that you have, that I have, that is unspeakable and full of glory, that empowers people to make people strong enough to be able to overcome all of the situations and circumstances in their lives. That's what gives people all kinds of depressive bouts, that give people all kinds of heartaches and all kinds of ups and downs in their lives, depression, that sort of thing, anxiety. It comes from not being able to handle all these difficulties with joy. I mean, you can deal with it, you can handle it and that sort of thing. You can man up, you can woman up and all that kind of thing, and do the best as you can and struggle with it and maybe eventually be able to live with it. But where is the joy? Where is the joy? Where is the joy? And what God offers to you and to me is not us just being able to somehow or another manage, not somehow or another being able to get by, but he says great joy, great joy, great joy. That is a joy that James says, count it all joy, that you're able to look at every situation, every circumstance and see, hey, wait a minute, this is a source of my joy. This is a part of my growing up. This is a trying of my faith. This is to come along to see whether or not I really do believe what I said I believe about Christ. This is coming to test me. This is coming to show forth to me. This is for my learning now, so I can discover the depth of my my relationship with Christ. This is coming along to see whether or not I am crucified with Christ. This is for my benefit. It's not for God's benefit. He already knows. He's been trying to tell me over and over again that he causes me to always triumph in Christ. He tells me over and over again there's no defeat whatsoever. He tells me over and over again who my enemy is. He tells me he's going around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. He now wants me to see, well, do you believe it? And I can say I do, but I don't know the depths of my own heart. So when these situations, circumstances come, they reveal to me where I'm at. It reveals to me whether or not what I've been saying is actually true in me, whether or not I actually believe what I have been saying I believe. That's what is there. It's the trying of your faith, which is much more precious than gold itself. Your faith is more valuable than fine gold. My faith is more valuable than fine gold, because without faith it's impossible to please God. You and I don't want to be people of little faith or people of no faith. Great profession. Oh, profess all kinds of stuff, claim all kinds of stuff, talk about all kinds of stuff, but that don't make it. It's whether or not you actually have it. Yes. It's actually whether or not I have it. You and I we could drum up a good talk, but no, when life throws that curveball, when that knuckleball comes right down at you, and even when you get hit with a pitch, when the enemy comes like a roaring lion into your life, threatening to tear up everything, threatening to devour everything, including you along with it. How do you react? What's your response? That's what it's there for. It's the trying of your faith. So you'll know. And I tell you, when you know, when you know that you're a real believer, when you know that your faith is tried and tested, your faith is true, your faith is grounded in Christ himself, you have heard him saying, and now you know the reason why you've been listening to this gospel, the reason why you've been listening is because Jesus says, look, I'm speaking these things to you so that your joy might remain. Yes. So there's great advantage to you and to me of hearing what Christ has said over and over again. You reading it for yourself, listening to it. I thank God for all the different kinds of methodologies that's available. You can plop a CD into your radio. Yes. You can download it on your phone. It could be anywhere, anytime. You listen to what the Lord has said to you. And guess what? Your whole purpose is so that his joy might remain in you. You understand now that he's speaking these things. He's saying these things because his desire that his joy might remain in you and that your joy might be filled, full, flowing over. Yes. Yes, yes. So you can identify with James, who says, count it all joy. So guess what? You count it all joy. Yeah, your plans got disrupted. Not a thing you had on your list to accomplish today ever came close to being done. But guess what? You're still full of joy. You counted that as joy. Say, wait a minute, I thank God for that because I'm being tested right now. My faith is being tested. It's being put in the fire. All the dross is being burnt off of it so that my faith will come forth as pure gold. In fact, it's really Christ's faith. It's his faith in me. And I'm seeing his faith blasting through, sparkling through, blazing through. I see his faith standing the test, and not only standing the test, but overcoming every area of the test. And I'm so grateful that his faith now has become my faith. Yes, his joy has become my joy. His life has become my life. I'm beginning to understand now where the Apostle Paul said that I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet it's not me, but it's Christ. He's living in me. In the life I'm now living right now in the flesh, I'm living by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I'm understanding he loved me and he gave himself for me so that now I can experience this abundant life that he came to give to me. It's his gift to me. And guess what? I've received it. Yes, I've been opening it up. I've been gazing upon it. I've been beholding it. I've been looking at it. I've been putting it on. I've been accepting it. I've been walking in it. I've been living his life. I've been surrendering myself totally and completely to him so that now it's no longer I. It's no longer me, but it's him. He's now the one who is living his life in me. Yes. My body has become his dwelling place, his living place. He never leaves me, never forsakes me. I never have to invite him to come to go with me. He's already going with me. He's already there before me. He's behind me. He's with me. Yes, yes. And he said, Don, I want you to enjoy me. I want you to enjoy my life. I want you to enjoy life to the fullest. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. And not only did James picked that up and said, look, count it all joy. He wasn't the only one that said that, but the same was true about Paul as well in Romans chapter 15, verse 13. He says, now the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that you may abound in hope through the power of the Holy Ghost. That, he's getting near the end of his letter. He's writing to those in Rome, and he's saying, look, now the God of hope fill you. Yeah, fill you with what? With all joy. Yes. There it is again. There it is again. Joy, joy, joy. So today, God's desire that you might be full today, that you might be filled today, you might be overflowing today, that your life might be a life of abundant joy today, that you might be fulfilled, you might be full, overflowing again with all joy, every joy that's available, every joy that's known, even joy that's unknown, that surprising joy, that joy that you wasn't looking for, the joy that you wasn't expecting. Yes, 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 that you might be filled, that you might be full with all joy and peace. I like this, in believing. In other words, one of the side effects of believing, one of the side effects of faith is joy. Again, it's that measuring stick. It's there for your benefit and my benefit. Is there anything that robs you of your joy? What is it that steals up on you and just takes your joy away? You know how it is. You started the day off, you were on cloud nine, and then you got to work, and something happened at work. You were involved in something, or you heard something, that something happened at work, and the joy that you started off with in the morning is no longer there. What took it away? What robbed you of your joy? What was it? Who was it? Was it the person? Was it a thing? Was it the situation? Was it the circumstance? Was it something you heard? Was it something you did? Was it a mistake that you did? Was it you doing the unexpected? You weren't expecting yourself to react that way, but you did, and now your joy. What is it? What was it that stole your joy? See, it's good for you to know that, so that next time you can guard your heart against that. So you say, all right, you got me the first time. You might even say you got me the second time. You might even go so far, you didn't got me the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth time. But guess what? It's not going to happen today. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes. In believing. All joy and peace in believing. They knew that. Look, it's faith, it's trust, it's confidence. It's in believing the gospel, hearing it, that it is great news. It is good tidings of great joy. And it's being said, Jesus' desire, God's desire is that I might be filled with his joy, that his joy might remain, that my joy might be full, that I'm made strong by his joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength. It not only makes me strong, it is my strength. So if I have little joy, I have little strength. Much joy, much strength, because the joy of the Lord is my strength. Yes. And not only that, but get into a place where I count it all joy, all the difficulties, all the trials, all the testing, all the disappointments, all the breakup in my plans, all the unaccomplishments in my plans. I count all those things as joy. Now, my perception, the way I see things, has been radically altered, has been changed now, because now I know that, wait a minute, even these difficult times, even these disappointments, these things are here in my life for one main purpose: to purify my faith. And in believing, guess what? Joy and peace going to come. In fact, it's going to remain. It's not that I don't have it and so now it's coming. It's not even the fact that I've got to increase it, but rather I've got to see that I have a fulfillment. It's remaining. His joy is remaining in me. Yes. Yes. That I might abound in hope. Listen to this: through the power of the Holy Ghost, the power of God himself in me, in you. Isn't that amazing? That you and I are discovering that the result, the focus, the direction of even divine power in your life, in my life, is to produce joy and peace continuously, constantly. It's like the electricity, the power, the electrical power that you are experiencing right now, that's in your house, that's in your office. It continues on. It doesn't light up for a while, and after a while, the electrical power gets a little bit tired, and so it begins to wane, and it just has to take a break. And so there's no power, there's no electrical power for a few moments, and so you just have to give it a rest, and then hopefully another couple hours or so, the electrical power will get back up again and running. No, that's not the way electrical power works. That's not the way the power of God works. It's consistent. It is always there. And so therefore, in the midst of your situation, my situation, your circumstance, my circumstance, the power of God is ongoing. And it's there to produce this great joy in your heart and in my heart, to overcome every obstacle so that we can count it all joy, as James encourages us to do. Count it all joy. Count it all joy. Why? Because we know what's going on. We know what's happening. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Joy to the world. Joy to you this morning. Yes, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. And joy to you. Joy and peace. That your joy and your peace might be full today. That they might be an overflow in your life. An overflow of joy. An overflow of peace. That somebody might come along and say, why are you so bubbly today? Why are you so full of joy? Why are you so full of peace? And you might have an opportunity to share with them the good news, the great news that has gotten you going this morning.
So much joy. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart
Yes, this joy that God gives you doesn't make any difference what's going on around you, whether or not there's any music or no music at all. It's the joy of the Lord that's welling up on the inside of you, yes. This river of life, this living water, bubbling up on the inside of you and on the inside of me, yes, yes. It's yours today. It's yours today. Don't let nothing rob you and steal your joy from you today. I'll tell you, wonders of his love. Has his love ever wondered you, caused you to just say, Lord, you love me like this? I mean, my goodness, you're going way beyond all of my expectations. Wonders of his love. That's what the gospel's all about. God so loved the whole wide world that he gave his only begotten son, yes. So that anybody, whosoever, even people who don't go to church, don't want to go to church. Like me, I didn't want to go to church. I stopped going to church. That didn't discount me. In fact, it made me a great candidate. Yes, good morning, WBR FM family. Good morning to you. Hope you had a great Christmas season and whatnot. And guess what? Because of the season, you can continue on celebrating. Yes, you can. Right into the new year.